If someone can make you angry with just a few words, they own you. Most people spend their lives being puppets to other people's opinions. If you're tired of being manipulated by your own reaction, this video is for you. My name is Michael Dugan, and I have over 20,000 hours of training people for the largest organization of its type in the world. I specialize in the skill of emotional regulation, adaptability, and fitting in social situations, allowing you to stay employed and valuable and relevant in today's world. In this video, I am going to talk about how to detach from people and how to stay untriggered with these people that are triggering you on the regular. But before I get there, let me start with how I got here. When I was a young man, I had an identity that I have a bad temper. Just like somebody can say, I'm not a morning person, they're identified with not liking mornings. When I say I have a bad temper, now I have a justification and an excuse to have a bad temper. The next question, am I going to have this identity until I die? Because this is going to have an effect on my perspective, my vibe, my law of attraction, and how people perceive me. And I made a decision at 23 to master my emotions. So here we are 40 years later, a very long road. And I've learned with some of the best teachers on emotional regulation. And by some people's standards, I've probably mastered my emotions to a degree. And what I want to share with you is 3 tenets in this video that I believe will help you on your path. And the first tenet is that everybody is doing the very best they can at any given moment based upon their level of consciousness, based upon their awareness, based upon their programming. People are programmed. We have our genetic programming and we have our sociological, societal, cultural programming. And what happens is people will show you who they are present time. One of my sayings is actions are a blueprint into somebody's psychology. If you lose your temper here, you probably lose their temper there. So when people are not liking you or judging you or are rude to you, it says more about them than it does about you. And don't take it personally because they're just showing you their conditioning or their programming. So when you let people be and you have the ability to be self-assured, what this is going to do is allow you to not seek outside assurance. And they're going to pick up on this vibe. Have you ever heard the saying that people that hurt are hurting? That's what I'm talking about. Now, the next tenet I want you to understand is that when the emotion goes up, the intelligence goes down. So oftentimes when we're triggered, we become emotional, and when we become emotional, we become reactive. And what happens is we're triggering something from our past experience. Let me give you an example. Say I'm a child and I roll my eyes at my mom, and then my mom gets upset at me. Then somebody rolls their eyes at me at school and I get upset at them. And then I'm an adult and somebody rolls their eyes at me and I get upset at them because I feel disrespected. Well, where was the origin story of this rule to somebody rolling their eyes at me and me feeling disrespected? All the way back to when I was a child and I learned from my mom. So whenever you get triggered, you're re-stimulating something from your past. Now recognize this, that you can stack a trigger on a trigger on a trigger. When you're in a state of survival, you can be very triggerable and you have very thin skin like rice paper. But when you're in a state of abundance, when you're in a state of happiness, you have thicker skin. So if you have a bunch of stuff draining your energy in your life, spinning a bunch of metaphoric plates, or a bunch of triggers that you haven't learned to let go of, you might have thin skin and you might get triggered easier by these people that are your nemesises. That's why you want to keep yourself emotionally up, keep your hormones happy to the best of your ability, and rewire in happiness into your vibration, into your hormones, into your emotional state. The third tenet is learning how to accept people where they are. I oftentimes say perfect is the perfect word. So when I have a challenging situation, I look at it as perfect. Otherwise, I'm dragging that situation into my present moment and it's polluting my present moment. When I have a challenging human being, I look at them as perfect. That way I'm not dragging this challenging situation that I got triggered about in my past. So it's learning how to accept things quickly. Acceptance is a skill, and the better you get at the skill of acceptance, the less you're dragging your past into your present moment. So you want to have the ability to learn to accept people where they're at and look at these people as perfect, even if they're mean to you. Perfect. Even if they're awful to you, perfect, because they're just doing their past conditioning and their past programming. Oftentimes, if a person is mean to you, they're probably mean to everybody. And this allows you to be kind to them in spite of the way they treat you. Learning to not care what other people think about you is a power. You want to be aware of how they perceive you, but if you care what they think about you, what you're doing is you're trying to conform to everybody outside of you, and this is impossible. What this does is this confines you in this conformist nature that's natural for human beings. So when you're self-assured, what happens is this liberates you to step outside the box and do things that other people are not willing to do, because you have the ability to be self-assured. This channel exists for one reason: to help people stop giving their power away, to help people stay intelligent under pressure, and to help people take life seriously at this time on the planet. If this resonates with you, please subscribe. We're here to help you become an emotional master.